Hello, 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 and welcome to Bonus Pod, the companion podcast to the MinnMax show. The first thing that you said you were a nerd for that I was looking into, and I think I might try and watch Delicious in Dungeon,
Oh yeah,
the new
yeah.
Netflix anime. That sounds pretty cool. So it was a Japanese manga series and only became a TV show a few months ago.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. It's a pretty recent manga. And it's like my family, my both my wife and daughter, they read a lot of manga, and that was one that they've been reading together for quite a while. So it was like in our house, it was like a big, oh, this is coming, right? This manga that we've been reading for a while, like they were reading it before it was even announced to be an anime because they're very cool. So it was like it was a big deal in our house, and we were sort of watching the trailers and stuff. And the music is by the Chrono Trigger composer, and then it's okay, funny. It's Studio Trigger, I think, which is funny because not that it doesn't have anything to do with Chrono Trigger, but it's Studio Trigger, who they've done awesome stuff. I like everything that Studio Trigger has done. I've really liked. They did Cyberpunk and stuff like that. Great animation studio, and it's like yeah. I mean, I could have you watched it. Do you know anything about it? I could pitch it for you if you want.
Yeah, I mean, all I kind of learned from the 2-minute Netflix trailer was that they are eating monsters, and the animation low key makes it look yummy, which I wasn't expecting.
Yeah. Well, it's weird. It's this funky thing that is it's almost like you don't really learn much about it until you're like a couple episodes in. But there's this literal dungeon. It's very video gamey because there's this literal dungeon that groups of adventurers go into to try to like uncover a treasure. But like the magic of the dungeon means like your soul doesn't leave your body or something. So like if you die, as long as your body gets transported back to the entrance, like you'll live.
Okay.
So it's like it's almost got this like roguelike nature to it. And like so everyone prepares and then they go into the dungeon and they die and they make it back, et cetera, so on and so forth. But like this group that you follow in the show are like ran out of money at a certain point, but he's got to save his sister who got eaten by a dragon, so her body's like stuck in a dragon, like deep in the dungeon. Like she's not dead, but they need to get to her. And so they decide to just start eating the monsters in the dungeon, and they meet this guy who's been like doing it for years, who's this like incredible cook. So the show is like one part funky, weird anime. Anime loves rules. They just have all these rules for like how the dungeon works and how things work. So it's a lot of explaining the rules. And then there's like, action sequences where they're fighting monsters. And then the third part of the show is like just explaining how they cook everything in detail, and it's like, it's not real, they're cooking like dragon tails and stuff like that. But it's like all things that you could apply to like, pork or whatever.
Yeah, the little
but
clips
it's cool.
they had of them cooking food. It was like it grossed me out and made me hungry at the same time because it seemed like they put a lot of effort to like, it doesn't just look like meat, it looks like weird monster meat. So like they're putting all these delicious sauces and spices, but it's on this weird meat, and I was like, yum, ew. Like it was like a weird feeling where I wanted to eat it. But that's intriguing that a whole third of the show is kind of just reserved for that awesome anime style of like, isn't this food look amazing? Like whenever I watch Studio Ghibli movies and they're making food, it's just like, oh, I want that right now.
Basically, yeah, if you like that. And then, and Sungwon Cho, you know him? He's on Twitter a lot. He's very funny voice actor, writer guy. He plays the chef character.
Okay.
And it's a lot of fun. Do you know who I'm talking about? If you don't, like, you've probably seen some of his little sketches online. He's very funny.
Yes, I do know him. Yeah, his nickname ProZD or Prost or whatever.
Yes,
he was big on Vine. I remember back in the day.
Oh, Vine. Good old days of Vine.
Leo was talking the other day about that Vine that went viral, and like part of it was due to your posting about it on Twitter. His look at the buns on that guy.
Look at the buns on that guy.
This is the comedy police. The joke's too funny.
I'm not going back to jail.
Vine.
Oh God,
and that's
that
how
so
I
much.
found it, was because you posted about it back. That's how when I first saw that tweet, but I hadn't remembered that until Leo pointed that out during his Spicy's interview thing.
I always felt so bad about that because it's like, I'm glad that other people found it and it became like viral for him. Like I love when I'll see Vine compilations on TikTok and it shows up in there.
It's always included in those.
Yeah, because it's the best. It's hilarious. But I always felt bad because I think I just tweeted the link to the Vine and didn't tag Leo.
Oh.
So like it was this rare instance of like, oh wow, this tweet's blowing up. and it wasn't connected to Leo, and I always felt terrible about that.
But now
like,
he
I was
doesn't
like,
even
I
like
wish...
Twitter or use it, so
I mean,
long term, you're
who
fine.
does? Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think I DM'd him when it was sort of like picking up, and I apologized, and Leo was like, I don't thank you, but I don't care. Like, it's like, it doesn't matter to me.
That's a very Leo thing to say. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just happy that people found the video. But yeah, no, that Vine is so funny. I do love that.
That one's iconic. I was at a party once where this is such a millennial party, but the background was just like Vines playing on a TV. And I remember being like pretty drunk, and Leo's came up. I was like, I know him. And I was like so proud of myself for knowing someone who could.
He didn't go back to jail.
Not going back to jail.
This was just a clip from our Patreon exclusive podcast called Bonus Pod. If you support MinnMax on Patreon at the $5 tier, you unlock Bonus Pod each and every week. Haley McLean is joined by cohorts to talk about whatever they want. It's kind of the sister show, the companion show to the MinnMax Show podcast. So there's even more content in here. Also, we take calls from members of the community, and we can really dive into the weeds on stuff. So if you want to more than double the amount of podcasts from MinnMax every week, support MinnMax on Patreon at the $5 tier. Thanks so much.